welcome back to Lit Laugh Lounge. I'm Alana.
I'm Haley.
And we are missing Lounge. R.I.P. Fallon.
We miss you. The kids miss you. Come back.
Please come back. Anyway, so last time we went through chapters 9 through 16. So now we have 17 through 24.
Yay!
Yeah, let's go. And now there are some pretty hefty chapters in here, including several history lessons. So
several history lessons.
Took a bit to get through, to be honest, but I guess let's get into it. So chapter 17, it starts off Bryce and the gang walk into the prison.
Of course they're walking.
They're just
That's all they do.
That's all they do. And then POV switch, because we needed that short little paragraph about them walking.
That's all we needed.
Yep. So POV switch, and it's to Ethan now. And now Ethan and the gang, or the other gang, are talking.
We need to give them different nicknames. Because I have Bryce and the boys, and then I have the boys. But they're two different the boys.
Yeah.
Because I have Bryce and the boys, which includes Nesta. So Bryce and Nesta and Azriel. And then I have the boys, which is Hunt, Baxi, and Rune.
Okay, so then this can be Ethan and the gang.
Okay.
There you go. So Bryce and the boys.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other one?
The boys.
The boys. And then Ethan and the gang. Okay, yeah, we got it. And so Ariadne, she's gone. Viper Queen
I miss you.
Sent her away.
Poor
said
girl.
That there was another more advantageous employer that she would be working for.
It's the Asteri. I'm only on chapter 24, through chapter 24, guys. I don't know. But it's the Asteri.
I believe so. Because I feel like it's got to be someone bad. So it's either...
It's Aelin Ashriver Galathinius, actually. She popped up to buy a dragon. Because, yeah.
She lost her powers, and so she just had to get a dragon instead.
Mm-hmm. Figured out.
But yeah, so our theory is the Asteri.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know, though. We'll see. It could be someone worse. Maybe the River Queen. I don't know. She would.
The River Queen would be funny because it's like fire and water.
Yeah,
juxtaposition.
Oh my god. But yeah, and so then Ethan's like, well, who the hell am I fighting? And the Viper Queen's, well, Sigrid, of course.
Obviously.
Who else would you be fighting? And yeah.
I did not guess that when that happened.
Me. Well, no, I kind of did. I knew it was going to be the dragon or it was going to be Sigrid.
I didn't think it was going to be the dragon. I was like, they've made it far too obvious. Like, it's definitely not going to be Ariadne. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I was thinking it was going to be Therion. And then I was like, or she's just going to pull something out of her ass and it's going to be like some big ass giant thing and he's going to lose an arm or something.
Yeah. Like another Minotaur or something.
No, you can't do that. She's a woman of like style and culture. She wouldn't do that twice.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's not like other girls. She wouldn't do that. She'd pick something else out. Something special. Maybe a big old alligator or something.
It's like the king of the underworld.
The Under King shows up like, let's box, bitch. KO.
He's like, I got some points to settle with you because of Bryce. Anyways, so after Ethan learns about that, we switch back to Nesta and Bryce. And so Bryce is like, yo, what's the prison? And Nesta's like,
it's a prison.
It's a prison. It's on an island. It's quite a bit away, and doesn't really tell her anything else about the prison. Nesta and Bryce is like, okay.
Sure.
And then Bryce mentions that she has this Archesian?
Bro, I'm dyslexic. All of those words turn into just in my brain.
Archesian amulet? Basically, she used it whenever she worked for Tasiba, and it would allow her to just go, walk through wards.
The one that was, the 3 circles put together.
Yeah, so...
Hunt and her had a whole thing about it in book 1. That's the only thing I remember.
No, I didn't even remember that, so you're better than me. But, but anyways, she just before that, she tricks Azriel. She's like, watch out. And Azriel's like, what?
Whoa,
Where? I didn't sense
I got you, girl.
And then Bryce runs through the wards. And then Azriel's pissed because she tricked him.
Be angry as fuck.
No, I'd be mad too if I was what is he the captain of? Captain of torture for Risa?
No, that's Cassian is the
general.
General of bloodshed?
Yeah.
So then he would be the captain of intelligence, but I feel like he's a better name than that.
Yeah, he's something intelligent, so kind of Not really good.
Intelligence?
I don't think he's
King
master.
of intelligence? I don't know.
General?
No, because I know Cassian's general.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Anyways, she tricked him. She tricked the master of intelligence. and runs through the wards. And then Nesta's like, I'm coming too, bitch. And uses
Let's go.
silver flames to part the wards. And then they're like talking, they're like, why is this here? Why were we led here? And Asriel's like, we should go.
That's when she notices all the shit, right?
No, she notices the star, but the carvings weren't, she didn't look at the constellations yet. And they're like, why are we here? And then Bryce says something along the lines of, it's an invitation for someone like me to learn the truth. And it was like,
okay, girl.
I don't know. It's very.
She thinks she's very special.
She really does.
She is. To be fair, she has a star glowing in her chest, but she thinks she's so special.
She definitely thinks she's more hot shit than she is, but she is hot shit, just less than she thinks.
Just like a percentile down.
Yeah, and then we're at chapter 18. Woo! So we're back to Hunt and the boy. Or no, we're back to the boys. Yeah! And they're being tortured. Yeah!
Love it for them.
And so now they're trying to escape, which, to be fair, I would want to
like
escape
real
too.
I guess.
What I think is funny is that like Hunt is constantly like, I spent 9 years down here.
Literally
9 years.
Like,
guys,
okay, he's flexing.
It's literally been like 3 days, and they're like, we need to leave. We need to get out of here.
He's like, I've been 9 years before. He's like flexing on them, and he's like, okay, bro.
And then at some point he's like, but I've never done it with friends before.
No, literally, he's like, I've never had my boys with me.
The boys. But yeah, so that's interesting. I'm like, really, Hunt? You can't hold out like a little longer.
Calm down.
It's been 3 days.
Calm your titties. And I know it's very sweet. I will get past this, but he keeps like talking about how he's like living for like the life that he wanted with Bryce and the children that he wanted to have. So he's like thinking about the children, and I'm like, this is weird. It's not weird. I just think it's weird, but I'm like, you're just thinking about your imaginary children.
Yeah. And he's like, and this one will look like Bryce, and this one will look like me.
And they'll have the temper of their mother. And I'm like,
okay. Like, I mean,
whatever keeps you going.
I daydream too. So, I mean, I get it. But, like.
He would love Wattpad.
He would love Wattpad. He would have his own account. He'd have, like, thousands of followers.
Mm-hmm. He'd be good at it.
And the comments will always be like, yo, where's the next update? And he's like, sorry, I just got out of being tortured.
No, I just got out of prison. Sorry.
But, yeah. So they're trying to escape. Rune is swinging, trying to get to the rack of weapons. And
it's not doing good.
It's not going well for them. And then all of a sudden, Rune has the bright idea. And he's like, yo, Hunt, what's your bite like? And Hunt's like, what? And ultimately, Rune's like, can you bite off my hand so that way I can reach this weapon better? And Hunt's like, hell no, I'm not. And Baxton's like, I'll do it.
I can do it.
I'll do it.
I can do it.
This is my way of getting into the gang. Into the
no,
boys.
literally, it's like getting hazed.
He's like, we've all done other things. What have you done, Baxton? He's like, I can bite off your hand.
I can bite off the hand. I can do it, guys.
Yeah. But, you know, yummy.
Delicious. I mean, he's like part dog. I'm sure he's like bitten someone's arm off before.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing.
In his dog form, human form, whatever.
Same thing.
It's all the same.
Dental care. Go crazy.
Okay, and then after that, we switch POVs back to Lydia. And it's a short little one, and Lydia, basically, Pollux walks in, and he's like, good news! Ugh, guess who's coming back? And she's like, who? The Harpy! And Lydia's like, what? Who? What do you mean, coming back? She's dead.
She dead. She gone.
And,
apparently she not, though.
And Pollux is like, I don't know, it's been some, like, fun little project Regulus has been working on. And so now she's getting fixed. And she's like, oh.
If she comes back as a zombie, I'm gonna freak out. Well, I don't do zombies. It's well known that I won't make it a week in a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
So if she's the start of it, I'm going down.
I feel like that is not Miss Maas's.
They can throw me into the portal. I'll go to Prithian and go yell at the master of intelligence. I'll go yell at him.
Oh my god.
They'll figure out their titles for us and then come back. Hopefully the zombie apocalypse will be over.
Oh my, why don't you just live in Prithian? That sounds nice.
Because they don't have air conditioning.
Oh, that's so true.
I love air conditioning.
If you had magic, you could just wind. Like live in the
Who
house
said
with
that
wind.
I would have like the wind magic? Oh, that's like Throne of Glass though. They have the elemental separative stuff.
Yeah.
But if I had like silver flames and then all I could do was keep myself warm, like that would suck.
Well, it's like cool fire though.
No, it's cool, but like what happened? Like in the winter,
like cool
it'd be
fire.
cool.
Like it's cold fire. It burns you because it's cold.
I guess that would work out then.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
She's like built an AC. That's great for her. Why haven't they used this?
Queen. Anyways, so we switch POVs back to Bryce and
The boys. BB.
Yeah, so Bryce and the boys, they are like, they activated a hologram. So basically, Bryce stepped on the star, and this whole scene just started playing out. And they're like, "Whoa, who is that bitch?"
Hey girl.
Hey girl.
She look a little royal up in that bitch.
Yeah, and so then Nesta's like, "Hey, I recognize that girl from the carvings." And then the girl introduces herself, and she's like, "I am Celine, daughter of Thea." And they're like, "Oh shit."
Crazy.
But Asriel points out that Celine looks like Rhysand's sister.
I also think it's funny that her name is Celine and that she's part of the Night Court line because Celine is the goddess of the moon.
It works.
It's like when Sarah was like, the baby's name is Nyx. I was like, do they just have like a list of like night names? They like Googled it and it came up on Babbel or whatever it is.
100%. She looked up baby names for meaning night. Oh my god. But yeah, so that's something interesting though, is that it says she looks like Rhysand's sister, but when he says it, Bryce notes that Asriel is like sad about
He's emo.
He is emo about Rhysand's sister. So I'm wondering if later in the book we're going to find out more about either how she died, what relationship that her.
We know
and
how
Asriel
she
had.
died.
It
was Tampon.
That's right. It was Tampon. No.
Yes, it was. But I'm not going to go.
Dad. It was Tampon's dad.
Oh, I thought it was him.
No, it wasn't him. Because not Asriel. Rhysand would have killed him if it was him.
I'm not going to go into detail about who that is, just in case someone hasn't read it yet. But yes, the bitch boy.
Yes, the bitch boy.
I don't know how you wouldn't have read it yet, though. But I'm going to be kind.
But anyways, I wonder if we'll learn more about Rhysand's sister and what kind of relationship Asriel and her had, because it might be more
kiss, fall in love.
Might be able to explain exactly what happened and why Asriel can't get a bitch, can't commit. I mean, he kind of likes Elaine, kind of likes Gwen. We don't really know.
If I get to the end of this book and he's still going for Elaine, I'm gonna throw myself off the bridge.
No, actually,
I'm gonna throw myself off the roof.
It would make me so unbelievably upset if it's three brothers and three sisters. That's fucking ridiculous.
Because I know they're not related brothers, but I don't like
They literally call each other brothers.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I would kill myself if I had to.
Imagine being your family being that interwoven. Imagine
your kids start dating each other. All of their kids start dating each other. Nyx dates whoever Nesta in them is daughter or son.
No.
Miss Maas, we don't want that. Please don't do that.
Please don't.
And they built up so much character arc with Gwen in the last. I feel like it'd be such a disappointment for them to be like, yeah, there's Gwen, she's hot, but Asriel still wants Elaine.
And I also I like Lucian and Elaine together.
The thought of it, even though they have no chemistry.
Yeah, I like the thought of it. But also they Asriel and Elaine also don't have crazy chemistry. Mm-hmm. She kind of just wrote in a couple scenes that they're chill.
Each other, yeah.
Yeah, and there was the one time with the necklace, but they don't have crazy chemistry.
They really don't.
So she can go either way.
Elaine has no chemistry with anyone, even her own sister.
Just give her some flowers and some seeds and let her go hang out with her little wrath ladies and just chill. She don't need no man. She's been through enough.
Yeah. The last thing we learn in this chapter is that Celine's mother, Thea, served the Asteri on Prithian.
Mm-hmm.
Bah, bah, bah. And then we hit chapter 19, which is a hefty chapter of a history lesson.
The next two after that are also
history
lessons.
Yeah, so what starts off, though, back with Lydia and how she's freaking out because the Harpy's coming back. And Pollux is like, let's have sexy time in the shower. And Lydia's like, what about the harpy though? And she's like, how many days till she come back? And he was like, I don't know, like 2 or 3. And she's like, damn, I gotta get my escape plan on.
What if she's like a cyborg instead of like a zombie? A harpy.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I really don't think it's gonna be. I
want it to be something weird. I don't want her just to be back.
Yeah, I really think that like the harpy coming back is just gonna be her coming back, so Lydia speeds up her.
I want something weird to happen to her. Okay. She's either gonna be soulless, and like
I think she's already soulless.
But like soulless, like removal of soul and just body, or a cyborg. I'd like that.
Okay, so then after sexy time in the shower, we switch back to Sigrid, and Ethan, or Du Bois. And Sigrid is like, yeah, I'll fight Ethan. Okay, whatever. And Viper Queen's like, yes. And Ethan's like, no, please, no. And then we switch back to Bryce and Du Bois, and we get some boatloads of information. And so basically Celine is just telling her entire life story and her mother's. And so we learned that Thea learned about the Dread Trove because she was working as the right hand under the Asteri. And like the Dread Trove came from the Asteri. It was like their most powerful objects. And then we learned that Thea was dating Phaon, which is the last High King of Prythian. And then so they had Celine and Helena together. And then we learned that the cauldron was actually originally from Prythian. It was one of their only like magical items.
Oh, yes.
And then the Asteri got a hold of it and changed it to make it more deadly and dark.
Corrupted it,
yeah. So I think that is interesting that even though the Dread Trove belongs to the Asteri, it was still made from the cauldron.
Yeah, so it's still kind of their world. But it definitely makes the name like Maid make a lot more sense too.
Yeah, for sure. And like I feel like the funniest thing about the cauldron is that ever since the first books, like all through ACOTAR, every time they say the cauldron, I just can't help but vision just a large like witch cauldron. Like that's all I can think about.
Is that not what it is?
No, it is.
Oh, okay.
But like the idea of it is so goofy,
stupid
in my head. Like
it's very
so goofy. And like them just like dipping Nesta and Elaine into it, and I'm like her.
I had a whole issue for a while where sometimes I think of the cauldron as like a clawfoot bathtub. Because like, could you not see that, like a clawfoot bathtub being like the cauldron?
No, 100%. Because I mean, I definitely like imagine like the different like legs.
Yeah. Like, and then it's like just like a very ornate bathtub, and like that would make a lot more sense to get shoved into than a cauldron.
Yeah,
I feel like the cauldron would be hard to like fit your whole body into.
Yeah, I guess it depends how big it is. Because I'm imagining the cauldron like nearly the size of this kitchen.
Damn, really?
Yeah, like
that's hard to move. They moved it all the way to Hybern.
Well, they had magic. Hybern, yeah.
Hybern.
But and so I'm like, if you put 2 people in it together,
they will never be able to dust under that. It'd be so difficult.
Oh my god. Get their Swiffer stick.
Yeah, Swiffer under it.
Anyway, so yeah, the cauldron's from Prythian, and the prison used to be like a beautiful island that the Asteri that was on Prythian would made her base. And then once they were gone, then it was Thea's base, and it used to be beautiful and had like these creatures on it and da-da-da-da-da. But something that Thea said was that only her heirs can access the island and tend to it. So that only includes Celine and Helena, not Phaon, not anyone else, which I think is weird.
She also calls it like, I don't know if it's here or later, but she calls it like dawn a lot. So like people were freaking out because like before this, like earlier before the book came out, they were like, we're going to learn more about the Dawn Court. And I was a hater. I was like, that's stupid because I couldn't remember anything about a Dawn Court being mentioned in any of the books. So I was like, that's dumb. You guys are going crazy. And then she was like, the island was called Dawn. And I was like, Sarah took that from the internet. She found that on Reddit and was like, yep,
that works.
That's going in there.
Oh my God. I actually so badly want to know Sarah's writing process.
Yeah.
Like, I'm imagining just a room full of, like, a massive fucking timeline.
She's that one picture with the guy with all the red music. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Because I really want to know how she was I feel like obviously it was not her plan to connect these.
No, I don't think it was her plan to go past the Christmas episode.
No. And then, so whenever, I just want to know how she did it.
Yeah, how she's connecting everything,
Yeah.
like making it make sense.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's like, I understood that she definitely wrote Crescent City with the intention to have a crossover.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, Akatar and Throne of Glass, no way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. But anyways, so Thea and Peleus end up killing Phaon, the last High King of Prythian. And Thea becomes like a tyrant after then. And she just has this immense power because she has the entire Dread Trove. And so everybody in Prythian's like, I guess we're just going to bow down to her. We don't really have an option.
Kiss them feet, girl.
Yep. So although she's honestly not a bad ruler, she's just kind of annoying.
Yeah, kind of obnoxious.
Yeah. And so, but Peleus convinces Thea, or Thea's like, I would like to continue conquering worlds.
Never a good idea.
Yeah, no.
Stop while you're ahead.
So, because she's like, I have two daughters. So that means I need 2 thrones.
Obviously.
She's not only one person can sit on Prythian. So then she's like, I guess we just need to find another world.
Obviously.
I love how she went from part A of being ruled and conquered to going to part Z of being the ruler and conqueror. So
go colonization, girl. I guess.
I really don't know why she thought that was a good idea, but here we are.
She lost brain cells in those years.
She really did. I think the Asteri got into her head.
Did a number on her.
Yeah. And so Peleus convinces Thea that they should find this empty world and just take it over, which is like, okay, good job. But then you find out Peleus is working with the Asteri. He's somehow found contact with Peleus, and Regulus has convinced him to come to this empty world, and to use the horn and the harp to do it. So then Thea's like, that's a great idea, Peleus. I don't know how you thought of that, but that's great
idea, man.
Yeah. And so she opens up this big gate, and all of these Fae from her world are like, yeah, let's go conquer a new world. Woo!
Patriotism.
So, yeah. I love America. I want to go war. I'm a lifesaver. Anyways, and so when this gate opens, Regulus is there waiting for him, and he's like, "Hey, girlies, come on in." And
let's have tea and cakes and live happily ever after.
Oh God,
play pretty
so
princess.
Great. Oh my God, she would have paid each other's nails.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my God. Anyway, so Regulus is like, "Come on in," and Thea's like, "Oh my gosh, you're so nice. It's so lovely to meet you. My name's Thea." And so yeah, and then meanwhile, Peleus is like actively working with Regulus to eventually overthrow
backstabber.
Yeah, backstabber,
as Kesha would say.
And so this is a plan that is going to be in the works for like months or years.
Long time.
Long time. And so yeah, and then they find out that Midgard, which is a planet they went to, actually has humans on it with civilizations. And they're like, oh, I've dealt with humans before. Let me take care of this. And so they overthrow and like mass homicide all of these.
I believe that is called genocide.
Genocide. So true. And like kill all of these humans and then enslave them. So she really did become the Asteri. She entered another world and then just took it over for fun.
Not a good girl.
Nuh-uh. So then Bryce and Nesta are pissed.
They ain't happy.
And that is the end of chapter 19.
Chapter 20. Oh my goodness, more history lesson. But first, we go to Ethan and the gang. And Ethan is fighting Siggy. And then everyone on the sidelines is like, yo, Viper Queen, let's cool your jets. Like, let's stop it. They taken enough. And she's like, we don't stop until one of them's dead. And they're like, oh, that was it. No. It's not a good time. And so Ethan is kind of basically just, he doesn't want to fight Sigrid because she's like important and he's too nice. And so he keeps like rounding his punches and like not hitting her that hard or just hitting her in places that it won't actually like damage her, and then just trying to get ahead of Sigrid's next step.
And something he keeps mentioning over and over is he's like, the alpha is dominating.
It is. It's coming out.
Fighting and da-da-da. And he's like, but the alpha in me answers. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
Inside of you, there are 2 wolves.
Yeah.
One is a wolf. The other is also a wolf.
Oh my God.
And so Ethan's losing, and at some point he lands a very hard blow, and Sigrid like stumbles back, and Therian is not okay. Therian is like, this is all my fault. Like, he's taken it very, very hard.
Yeah.
And then we switch over to Bryce and the boys, and
The boys.
Celine is yapping. She is still yapping over and over again. And at this point, they're not really like, this part of the history lesson isn't really that much between, but they go into the world. They meet the other fae that Regulus has brought over. And they're shifters. Like, at first I was trying to figure out if they were from like the Throne of Glass verse.
That's what I thought at first too, especially because she was talking about like elemental magic.
Yeah, that's why I thought it. And then shifters, and I had to ask Alana. I was like, could they all shift in Throne of Glass? Because I couldn't remember if Aelin could shift or not, and she couldn't. But then also Lorcan, not Lorcant. He couldn't shift either, but he also had like the little shadow magic. So maybe he will pop over and say hi. Who knows? But so possibly Throne of Glass verse, who knows? And then at this point they figure out that something is up with the Daglin, as they say, and Celine and Helena chill out in their palace for like 2 months in the shadows, like just they become the shadows themselves. And they go back and they figure out that they are the Asteri, they're parasites, and that basically Thea is a dumbass, is how it ends. And so Thea's like, I gotta get my people and my daughters out of here. So she brings up another world, the only world that she can find that was not conquered by the Asteri, which is Hell. And then Adis walks in and he's like, sup girls? And they're like, we need your help. And then we flipped to the boys, Baxian and Rune and Hunt. And then Baxian has bit off Rune's hand. I needed to be known. I like had to put the book down and take a lap because I could feel it in my wrist, being bit. Like I could feel my wrist, and I was like, "Oh!"
It was a very, very descriptive scene, and it's like we mentioned in like one of the first episodes how like Sarah is just really good at writing torture in a way that makes you just really feel it, but without it being gory. It's like the way that she alludes to it is like, God damn. And so it's definitely impressive, but it's also like, I don't want to read this. It's so horrible.
It's so bad. I was like gagging, and then Baxian finally bites his hand off, and like he gets the poker, and then Regulus shows up and is like, "Oh, are you an acrobat? You joined the circus?
That was quite the performance.
Oh my god! It's all for nothing.
All for nothing. Rune no longer has a hand because Regulus is right there. Also, Pollux, I think, walks over, picks up the hand, and like flicks him off with his own hand.
That's later.
Oh, my bad.
This is just the hand falls to the ground, but he does do that. It's the hawk is there with them. It's the hawk, Pollux, and what the fuck is his name? Regulus. And then we flip back to Ethan, and he's trying not to kill Siggy, and she's not helping because the whole thing is that she wants to live, obviously, but she doesn't know her own strength. And she doesn't know, she's sloppy. She's untrained. She's been literally in a tank for almost her entire life. But she's fast as fuck. So when Ethan goes to hit her shoulder, she moves too fast, and he just punches right through her throat. And she is dead. Possibly. Who knows? Sarah.
They say she's dead, but she's probably not.
Yeah. Chapter 21. This is hefty. Guys. Okay.
Buckle up.
Yeah. So Thea and Ados rally the fight to the Asteri, and they go to a human meeting in one of the cities. It kind of feels like the Library of Alexandria type beat, the way she describes it, as like the city being full of knowledge and then destroyed, and like all of that knowledge is gone now. And so they go to this meeting with all of the humans who they couldn't enslave because they're totally going to help them. And they're like, we need your help because these people are bad. And they're like, really, we couldn't have told you that. Like, we didn't know. But they're like, well, you guys enslaved us. And so they're not really helping. And then like, as a final fuck you, one of them's like, the Asteri put a parasite in your water that forces you to make the drop, which is what they call the tithe in Prithian. So it's the same thing, but it forces you to make the drop, gives them more power than the tithe, and if you don't, it will just wither away all of your magic until you're nothing but human. So they have to make the drop. And so they are essentially owned by the Asteri, like totally. Their souls are owned at this point.
And they also made it so that if you don't make the drop, or you make it and not one of like their special like make the drop places, that they'll like seek you out and have you die, but like in a super like superstitious kind of way. So that way people are scared to do it, and that they'll go to the official places to make the drop, which is interesting because Bryce didn't go to an official place to make her drop.
Yeah, she made it in the middle of the battlefield, right?
Yeah, she made it in the middle of the battlefield. So that's something that like the Asteri probably hated her.
Yeah.
Even before that moment, but like specifically that moment, because it proved that you could do the drop without like just immediately dying.
And so they're like rallying their forces. Hel brings in an army. She has her forces, and they're fighting the war because the shifters are on the side of the Asteri. So they're fighting the Asteri, the people they have enslaved there, and the shifters, and then it's Hel's armies and Thea's armies. So one night, Hel is away. They're in their own universe or whatever, and they get word from the Asteri that they basically say, surrender now and you guys will all live. It's their like base. It's not like a war. Like it's not like there's going to be a battle. It's their base, their home base. And so the Asteri send them this letter, and they go, we're gonna attack you, either surrender now or don't. And so Thea is like, we're not gonna surrender, and her daughters are like, yo, let's call Hel. And she's like, no, they're busy. Yeah, we ain't gonna phone for help.
Refuses to call Hel. I'm like, yo, like Prince Ados could do something, could send you someone, like
literally. And then so she takes the harp and she splits her starlight power and gives some of it to Helena, some of it to Selene, and then keeps some of it for herself. And I don't know if I said that, but she uses the harp. And so Thea goes down to battle, and she sends her daughters close off with the harp and the horn. And the base that she had chosen is close to where she originally came through, because she believes that if her daughters go through the same space, they'll end up back on her island. So her daughters go to find the space where they came through, and they see that their mom is down on the battlefield fighting Peleus with the Star Sword. And as they do, they get attacked by shifters, and Helena opens the portal, and their people are coming up after them. And so Helena pushes Selene through the portal, and she closes it and leaves herself with all of the people stranded in the world with the war. And then she leaves herself stranded as well. And Selene just doesn't try and get back through. She can hear the screaming through the wall. It's crazy.
Yeah, and like people were running up with their children. And like all this stuff. They were like, if you don't take us, just at least take the children. Yeah. Like, you don't have to. Like, and like it was just horrible. Like it was a massacre.
And even Bryce says, she's like, even if she just kept it open for a few more minutes, she could have gotten people through. But like I there must have been some other reason that she didn't, I assume, to keep up face.
It was to protect her legacy back on Prithian, because if there was like 15 people that knew the actual truth of what happened,
she erases it later
and what her family did. Yeah, she like Haley said, she completely erases her family's history and who she is.
She's like, her daughters mean like nothing. Like she talks about it later where she's like, I erased my sister and that was the hardest part. And she was like, her daughter was like a nobody because her sister like sacrificed herself. And so in her rage, Selene turns the palace that she grew up to into the prison that it is now, puts rocks everywhere, yada, yada, yada.
And she hunts down all of the creatures that the Asteri left on Prithian, and then she traps them all in the prison, that's interesting because that's where the little boy was that could like see
the carver.
The carver was, and that's where something else was. So it's like you're seeing all these like crazy monsters that were actually subjects of the Asteri.
Yeah. And so she turns it into that, and she says in her little talk, her TED talk, that the only people who are going to be able to open the prison and like use it and open that hologram is her bloodline, which is either Reese or it's Bryce. As the two separated sisters over millennia. And then we're at 22. And I was freaking out over Rune's hand. I could not handle it. Because like at one point they say that they drop him and he lands on the stump of his hand. And the idea of getting your hand mauled off and then falling directly on top of it, just your whole body weight. I was shaking, it was quaking, it was not good.
And falling into like a puddle of your own like poop.
Oh,
and
must have gotten so infected.
Yeah, like immediate infection.
Someone get him some hydrogen peroxide.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when the hawk does the thing with the middle finger and flips him off with using his own hand.
Yeah.
Weird.
Kind of funny though. Like,
kind of hilarious.
Kind of funny. Like that was a little giggle.
That was a good detail, Sarah. Really I like that one. And then Regulus is like, Hun, we came here for a reason. We kind of want some of your power. And he's like, no. And he's like, oh, okay, kill one of the bitches. And then he's like, wait. I'll give you some of it.
Wait a minute.
And so he gives him some of his little lightning magic. Because I still don't know what he is.
Yeah, fucking child of Orion, but and then Regulus is like, okay, but I'm still gonna kill one of your friends because you didn't give me your power the first time I asked.
Yeah.
And Hunt's like, what the fuck?
So sassy. And then he doesn't end up doing it because he's like, we'll see like how desperate you get.
I'll kill him later or whatever.
Yeah. And so then Lydia shows up and she sees like the fucking hand and she's like, oh,
damn.
Yo, the fuck. And then she gives Baxian and Hunt a shot of first light so they will be able to grow their wings back. And she's basically like, tells Pollux and the Hunt and the Hawk that they'll be able to take their wings off again and not to take them off until they're fully grown and give them a little bit so they like can savor their wings and then they can chop them off again. Mm-hmm. But really she just wants them to be able to fly. And Pollux is being gross again. He's like, I'm gonna fuck that disobedience out of you. And I was like, nasty. Nasty.
Which is kind of funny because I think in terms of like their cadre or whatever that Lydia is ranked higher than Pollux.
She is.
And so he hates it. And so it's crazy that he's like, you can tell me this now, but later you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Calm down. Calm your titties. And then Selene, the hologram, disappears and they're basically asking questions to Bryce. They're like, how'd you say you got here again? And they figure out that she has the horn on her back. And she's like, haha, caught me, LOL. Whoa. And they're like, what are you going to do about it? And Azrael's like, I'm going to go tell Reese. And so he tries to run and she's like, oh,
you're not going anywhere.
Can't allow that. And so she drops to the ground and she's like, Selene said she left some of her power here, that this was only for her descendants. And she basically steals, or like she takes absorbs, that's a good word, absorbs what was in the ground from rock. Selene's power. And then it fills that void that she had because up till this point, her starlight was only light. It needed like a charge. It wasn't like a weapon. Mm-hmm. But now it's a weapon because it's fully charged.
And so now she's like throwing rocks at Azrael.
She's throwing rocks at Azrael. She's throwing rocks at Nesta.
And they're like, well, calm down, girl. Let's just take you to Reese and see what he says. And they're like, why? So you can cut the horn out of me?
Yeah.
Like if we have to.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't want to hurt you. And Nesta's like, well, like we can just go back to the night court. And she's like, what are you going to do? And she's like, anything, what's necessary? And she's like, no. And so she just kind of like destroys the prison. Like she just lets out this big, powerful energy and the floor under them falls out. And then 23, this is a short chapter. Lydia's talking to Erithus, which is the Sprite Queen, about her plan. She's basically like, I needed to know that I could trust you for this to work and I need you to distract basically everyone. And she's like, like, okay, but like, can you get this collar off of me? And she's like, yeah, I got you. So she promises the
Hild.
Yeah, she promises Hild that if she frees Erithus, then she'll walk free. And then Hild is like, okay. So she, and then Lydia like is pointing a gun at her and she's like, you don't shoot me, I remove this. And she's like, yeah, I won't shoot you. And then so she removes Erithus's collar, and then Erithus just lights her up, ashes
like,
baby.
Immediately kills her.
She didn't shoot her. I didn't shoot her. Which is so funny. And then Lydia sets her off to be the distraction. She frees her and she's like, I need you to burn me and I need you to make it look bad so it looks like you overpowered me.
I feel like it's not going to work though, because she's used that same method like multiple times now where she told Bryce to attack her when the harpy died. And now that Hild's dead, she's like, she told Erithus Erithus to attack her, so that way it looks like it was accidental. But I feel like at this point, especially with being a second time, Regulus is going to be like, you're not losing this much. Also, she is the only person that had the power to unlock Erithus's little ball. So I feel like it's going to look a little suspicious towards Lydia.
Lydia's got to hurry the fuck up.
She really does.
She needs to put the pedal to the metal.
She's going to get caught really soon.
And then we switch back to Bryce, and the floor opens up, and she looks up and she looks around, and she can hear that the other people aren't dead, and she like sees this quartz clear coffin, sarcophagus, and it has a woman inside, and she's breathing,
and she's beautiful.
She's gorgeous, darling. Chapter 24. The bitch in the coffin is rude as fuck. She's so annoying. She's like, free me, slave. Let me out, slave.
Why are you so disobedient?
Slave. And it's like, huh? She's like, I made you. And like, I am your owner. I'm your leader. I made you. She's talking to Azriel. And Azriel's like, you didn't make shit.
He's like, I don't know you.
I
like,
don't know
what?
You, bitch.
He's like, how long have I been asleep for? But anyways, you find out.
Oh, yeah. And then she's like, Bryce has this whole like moment where she's like, wait, gorgeous hair. Beautiful person, calls Azriel a slave. You must be an Asteri. Crazy.
Oh my god.
We never would have guessed.
Yeah, no.
And then we flip back over to Ethan, and Ethan is going through it. My poor man is like so upset because he's talking about, he's not talking. Therion's talking, I think. And they're just talking about how like he removed his head and Sigrid's head just went flap, flap,
like
flap,
rolled.
Sor Sancho style off. And then she's dead. Like she's dead.
She is gone.
And so they leave and they're in the car and they're sitting there and they're like about to drive away and they're telling Ethan, they're like, bro, we know it's not your fault. We saw what you were trying to do. We saw that you were aiming for her shoulder. And he's like not getting it. And then the sprites show up on the window and they're like, whoa, we forgot the sprites. And they're like, drive! Go. And they're like driving away and they're like, why? And they're like, they look back and everything's, there's smoke in there and they're like, we set it on fire.
The whole meat market is on fire.
They set it ablaze and they're like, she'll kill you. And they're like, she gotta find us first.
Which I love the sprites. I think they have been the most fun inclusion into the third book, going into the third book, because I just love them so
They're
much.
hilarious. I love them so much. And then we switch back to Bryce and she's talking to the Asteri, who was Thea's mistress. And Thea had tricked her, said, oh, you needed a rest. Go rest in this beautiful quartz bed that I had made for you.
Which, by the way, that's how you took over the Asteri? Was you tricked them into sleeping in a pretty bed? That's how you started ruling?
Didn't even, like, stick it at the bottom of the ocean or
like,
anything. Stuck it below her palace.
Didn't try, like, she didn't actually kill or defeat the Asteri. She just pushed them out.
She just put off the problem. She procrastinated.
I was like, what?
And then Bryce is like taunting her because she's like, get Thea, that bitch. And then she's like, you could get Thea, but she's dead as fuck. So you have to deal with me. And she's like, who is her ancestor, blah, blah, blah. And she basically internally, she's like, this is my one chance to figure out how to save my world. I'm not going to let it go, because what other choices does she have? Go with Nesta and Azriel and possibly get her only connection to her world ripped out of her. Sounds like not a great plan for her.
Yeah, because I mean, they don't want her to ever open.
They don't not fucking around.
Yeah, they don't want any chance of her world coming into theirs because they know they will lose.
So then she's like, I have some questions, and then the Asteri's like, I have some answers if you let me out. And she's like, okay.
Boom. And I'm like, you know what? I get it, but you're kind of annoying. Like, you didn't even try. I feel like you could have gotten like a few answers out of her before you opened the sarcophagus or whatever.
But also she's building trust, because now she kind of trust, air quotes, her. Like, it's like, oh, she'll tell you. She'll like, she's not that powerful. She'll like listen to what I say. So I'll answer her stupid questions, like that kind of thing. And that's the end of 24.
Yeah, there was a lot of like dumb bitch reasoning used here. But
I mean, we needed to get there somehow. I'm hoping that we break the boys out in the next couple set of chapters.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm gonna need a little action.
Me too.
I'm gonna need a little fight.
I'm tired of reading torture as well.
Yeah, I want like a little bit less exposition and a little bit more action.
Yeah, the info dumping was a lot. Like I did enjoy reading it because it's like, ooh, fun new stuff I didn't know before. But at the same time, oh, we forgot to mention how Celine married into the Night Court
Oh yeah,
and started like her own line.
Reese is in fact a cousin
And
of Bryce.
A very distant cousin, but supposedly the sons of each of the line of High Lords are supposed to like pass down the info. Like those are the only people who know the true story of Celine. But
and they fucking didn't. They suck at their job.
They didn't. Someone along the line forgot to pass it down or just didn't have kids in time. And whoops.
Bryce shows up with new information.
Yeah, because Reese doesn't know. At least Azriel and Nesta said that he doesn't know.
Yeah, which I believe. Because why would he? He didn't even know the Daglin were like a real thing.
A real problem,
He was like, that happened a while ago.
It's kind of like myth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Predictions for 25 through whatever the fuck.
32, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, 32.
I believe you.
So my predictions are, I mean, obviously Rune and the other bitch the boys are gonna get out.
Please.
Free
them.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Lydia's gonna get caught really soon.
Yeah. But I don't know how caught she's gonna be because I feel like that's the only way that she's gonna get them out. And I feel like they all need to get out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it'll be like a thing where Regulus lets her get them out.
But I'm scared that she's going to be caught before her plan goes.
But then we'd still be in the dungeon.
I know. I don't want to be in the dungeon.
I don't even want to think about that. I'm thinking he's going to let her break them out, and for whatever reason, he's going to...
Maybe he thinks they'll get to Bryce or something and follow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I would assume. That's my hopes if something happens. Because I can't keep doing this, Sarah.
Me either.
I can't keep doing this.
Sarah. And then I feel like Ariadne is going to be making an appearance.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not in the next few chapters, but definitely soon.
Yeah, she's probably going to be with the Asteri somehow, some way, guarding something.
Doing something.
Doing something dragon-like. Which, I don't know how this is working because, like, the Viper Queen didn't own her. She was just on loan. So did the loaner loan her out?
No, she just worked for the Viper Queen. She wasn't slave.
Yeah, but like then she loaned her out again. But the only reason that she was there is because Flynn was like, she can be there. So then she sold her. So she sold her loan. That's not how commerce works. It's not even like the bargain system.
I don't know.
Makes no sense.
But
anyway.
Yeah. That was our review of chapters 17 through 24.
I hope you all enjoyed it.
Please, hope you enjoyed it. Go watch our YouTube video and listen on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. We will be there.
Rock on!
So thanks for listening.
Bye girlies!